Welcome to CivilNet. My guest is Armenuhi Hovhannisyan, a diplomat, lawyer, public figure, and a philanthropist. Thank you, Madam Hovhannisyan, for joining us.
Thank you for the invitation.
So, your family moved to Armenia in the very early years of independence. First question, what is your retrospective view and your feeling about the Independence Day?
Well, living in the diaspora, we had dreamed all our life that one day Armenia will become independent and Rafi and I would come here and have our children and our family here. So we felt very fortunate that we had that opportunity in our lifetime. And in fact, we came to Armenia right after the earthquake, 1989, because Rafi was involved in bringing humanitarian assistance to Armenia. And so we were here during the movement of independence, and we were part of that movement. And so when Armenia was declared independent, we had no doubt that this is where we belonged and this is where we were going to be. And in fact, we were fortunate. We were fortunate to be here at the creation. And in those years where Armenia, I like to call those years the years of naive Armenia, when everything was so simple and hospitable and so much full of dreams. And again, we were blessed to be here.
So now things have changed. We're living in a very tough moments. The consequences of the devastating war of 2020 are not overcome yet, as you know, and we are still living the trauma of the war and the constant escalations on the Armenian-Azerbaijani border and in Artsakh. What is your feeling now of the 30th anniversary in this context, and how are you going to mark yourself September 21st?
Mm-hmm. You know, it's very sad times and very difficult times for Armenia. I give myself hope and to the people around me by saying that if we did overcome the 1915 genocide, we can overcome this as well. And perhaps learn lessons from it. You know, we Armenians like to overrate ourselves. And I think it's time that we face the reality. We face what our strengths are and what our weaknesses are. We evaluate our weaknesses and really start planning our future and working towards that. We see how Azerbaijan has done it for many years, how they were prepared for the war, and how we were not. Sometimes we like to take everything as, oh, you know, it will happen, but we're taking things for granted. It's not going to happen unless we work for it. I think the time has come for our governments, our leaders, and our people to assess the reality, to understand our weaknesses, and to start having a national plan as to how we're going to overcome these difficulties. I am sure we are, no doubt about it. As I said, if we could overcome 1915, we can do this. But we will not be able to do it without the help of all Armenians around the world, the diasporan Armenians, young and old, and they don't have to necessarily come to Armenia to live. There's a lot of work that can be done from outside, as people did during the war. We saw, I was very surprised because right when the war started, I was in the States, and I saw how young people, American Armenians, who some of them didn't even speak Armenian, how they galvanized, how they came together to help Armenia. And then a few days later, I took a plane here, and I thought I wasn't going to see any males on the streets. I thought everybody's at war. And then all of a sudden, I see a lot of young people having a good time, and I was kind of surprised. What is happening here? Why do we not understand how serious this is? I can understand that during the war we needed to be an optimist. We needed to say, you know, we're winning, we're doing this and that. But I think the downside of that was that a lot of people were in a comfort zone and didn't understand that this is not just fighting over Karabakh. This is the future of Armenia. And so I hope we've learned our lessons. I hope we get serious about it. I hope we stop the little bickerings, the corruption, the self-centered interests, and start thinking of the long term, where our country is going and where we want it to be in 10 years, 20 years.
And related to what you just said, if nothing of what you just said happens and if no one wakes up, what do you think would be the consequences in 5 years, for example?
I don't want to predict, but it will not be good consequences. We probably will have a smaller country. We will be less independent. I think we will always have Armenia. I'm not sure if it will be independent or not, but I think we will be able to keep some part of our land. But really, it's where do we want to see Armenia in 5 years? And what are we doing today about it? Right now, we are not seeing much being done to ensure a safe, secure, peaceful Armenia.
One of the most significant moments in Armenia's independence years was the presidential election campaign of 2013, when your husband, Armenihi Hovhannisyan, had become the main contender to challenge the regime. How did your family pass through all those developments?
You know, I guess God gives you strength. We believed in a democratic Armenia, and we saw the reality of corruption. And we thought that the Armenian people deserved better. They deserved a peaceful country, a prosperous country, free of corruption, where people could create culturally, be educated, and feel secure. And I'm very proud of my husband and my family, because, you know, my oldest son, Garin, was involved very much as well. And I was by my husband the whole time. And we felt very touched by the people of Armenia, because they did believe in my husband and they did give their voice, their vote to him. Yes, we didn't succeed, I think, because the government then understood very well that my husband would never shed blood for power. And I think they took very extreme measures. You know, if you compare the 2018 movement with the 13 movement, they were very, very different. Of course, the internet had a lot to do as well, because in 2013 it wasn't so active. But I hope that history will note that 2018 wouldn't have happened if we didn't have 2013.
So the independence of a country implies many factors, many development factors. It's depending on education, fight against poverty, economic growth, focus on culture, health improvement, etc. You founded, along with your husband, a center in Vanadzor in Armenia, the Առանց Center. The center aims at diverting vulnerable children from the streets and also give them the chance to have an academic, cultural, and extracurricular activities. The center also assists the lonely and needy elderly. Are these kinds of initiatives that are not private, but they are not depending on the state, so the state is not involved, but you decided to initiate this? Are these kind of organizations, these kind of project initiatives impactful at a larger scale in Armenia?
You know, it's a very interesting question you're asking, because I myself ask that question all the time. And I do understand that it's only a drop in the ocean what I'm doing. But I think there's very strong messages that we are sending with initiatives like this. And not just so many families and so many private organizations have done such good work in Armenia. The message is that we're becoming role models. We're setting benchmarks for Armenia in the fields we're in. We are also sending a very strong message to the people in Armenia in need by telling them, look, you're not alone. There are people here who care about you. And I also think a very important message in all this is that any government in any country cannot handle all the social problems people face. And it's up to its own citizens to take active roles to change the makeup, the political, economic, social, cultural makeup. Independence brought us many, many wonderful things. We are more integrated globally. We are freer. Our generation has the opportunity to be educated in the best universities outside and come back to help Armenia. But of course, there were some bad things that came with it as well with these years, because somewhere along the line we lost our strong cultural values. And we are too much in a hurry to be globalized. And I think that I would like to see an Armenia which is extremely self-confident, very well educated, economically prosperous, but rooted, built on the traditional values, whether it's national, ethnic, or family traditions.
So you already tackled the question, but I will talk about that. So you lived in the US and in Armenia for many years. What should be done to involve more? You already give us some hint, but to involve in a more efficient way the Armenian diaspora in Armenia.
Mm-hmm. My experience with working young people is that they love Armenia when they are here. They fall in love with the country and the people. But they want to be engaged. They don't want to come as a tourist. They want to have that feeling of being master of their homeland. And the best way is to give them, to engage them in different ways. For example, at Oran, every summer we take a number of volunteers from the diaspora who come and spend months with the children, tutoring them in English, working with their homework, playing games with them, doing different activities, and really getting to know the people of Armenia. And I think that if each one of us in our different spheres, we can create opportunities to bring young people to be engaged in Armenia, I think that would be very important.
And since we're talking about the young people, what would you say to the young generation that has still a lot to see in Armenia and a lot of years of independence, hopefully? What would you tell them about their country and about independence?
Mm-hmm. I would say, first of all, they're fortunate to be living at very historical times because each one of them can make a difference in the fate of the nation and our people. It's not every generation that has this opportunity. How fortunate and blessed we are to be given that, to be living in these times where we can make a difference. So take the opportunity. Don't be afraid of anything. Believe in your soul, in your heart, in your intuitive sense, and go forward into building a nation where you would be proud of.
Well, thank you, Madam Hovhannisyan, for this talk.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching and continue to follow CivilNet.